lady?
Good morning. Do you know how difficult these mornings are for a not morning person?
For the night owl of the family? The
Oh,
nightest? No, you're not the nightiest night owl. Mom takes that
well,
that
but she goes to sleep first and then gets up. I just don't go to sleep. So we have different night owlish characteristics.
yeah. And I get up a full 2 hours before I need to be somewhere. So I have time
Wow,
to do what I need to get done in the morning.
that's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, let's move into the real deal here. We're talking about joy today. Isn't that a
Exactly.
great word?
It
Joy.
is.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
So, where does that take you?
In You know, so many people talk about what do you need to do or think or believe to bring more happiness into your life.
Mhm.
And I think happiness is similar to joy, but joy is not as fluffy as happiness. Joy has a deeper root. That's what I'm going to write about.
See, to me, happiness, I learned this a long time ago. Happiness is a choice, it's a state of mind.
Mm.
I admit to being happy every day, no
Hmm.
matter what's happening,
Hmm.
even under the most unusual of circumstances, even when my dog is barking in the middle of our recording. Joy to me is an event that helps you celebrate your happiness, maybe with another person, or it's something you can create. But I don't think happiness is a goal or a destination. I think
Mm.
happiness is a state of mind.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if our writings are going to be similar or vastly different.
Don't know.
Are you
You
going to
know,
get, are you going to stay philosophical or are you going to go specific?
I know. I don't even know what that means. Joy is very current for me because as our listeners know, I recently lost my husband.
Hmm.
And about a month and a half before he passed away, he and I sat down and we had a conversation. And it was about the fact that he said, I'm finally realizing that I'm not going to make it.
Hmm.
And this is pretty heavy duty stuff, he said.
Mhm, mhm.
And I said, okay, how can I help you with that? And he said, we need to put a little bit of joy in every day.
Hmm.
And I said, oh, that sounds like fun. And he said, it can be. But I
Mhm,
said, it's the thought of what's happening here is too heavy.
mhm,
He said, I need some joy. So
mhm.
that's probably even a little more where I'm going to go.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
also made certain that when he and I were relating to each other, that we were coming from a place of happiness.
Okay.
So there, that's where I'm
Okay.
coming from.
I think we need to get going here.
I think so. Let's go.
Okay. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
There we go. Okay. Whoa. Well,
Welcome back.
this one was all over the place for me. This was not one of my better writings. So I,
I've never read anything you wrote that I didn't love.
Mhm. Well, why don't you
So
talk
you're
first? What did you put down today?
I said joy is a word that conjures up smiling faces and laughing children. And I said I feel happiest when I'm creating joy in mine and others' lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I did talk about, I talked about my husband recently passing away, and I said his only request for his unknown number of remaining days was that we remember to bring joy into every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that thought. And so we started to be sure and with purpose adding joyful stuff to happen.
Like
And
what? What did you add into your day that was joyful?
well, Michael loved reading mystery novels. Well,
Mhm.
he couldn't read because it just didn't work for him. He wasn't strong enough. So every day we read at least one chapter in a mystery novel, the same mystery novel. We didn't complete it, but I'm sure he's a fast reader. I'm sure he's finished it by now. Um, so we would read every day.
Hmm.
Another thing was when he was in the hospital, I don't know if you remember, but nothing tasted good to him. He said everything tasted like sawdust or cardboard. And I thought, oh, that must be so awful.
Mhm.
So one day in the hospital, one of the nurses brought him a little container of tricolor sherbet. And he ate that sherbet and he went, "Do you have more of that?" And she said, "You bet." And she brought him more. And he said, "Oh, that is the best thing ever." He said, "It tasted so good and it cooled my throat." And he said, "I love that." So on my way home from the hospital that night, I bought 3 quarts of tricolor sherbet at Piggly Wiggly, and I surprised him when he came home. And he thought that was best, and it filled him with joy, and we laughed. And so I started eating it too, and we had just a ball over the tricolored sherbet. So that was just 2 examples of some of the
Mhm.
joyful things we did. There were other little things, but
Mhm.
everything was with intention, and made it a real special time.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. The difference between happiness and joy is doing something that you know is going to bring happiness using intention.
Isn't intention a great word?
That is a good word. That's not on a
Yeah,
list.
it's
We have to
not.
include that one in another list, I think.
Another list.
Intention.
Let's both remember intention. So
Intention.
anyway, when I think about Michael's final days,
Yeah.
it was very sad because I knew I wouldn't see him again. I knew he was passing. I knew it was a transition time for him. And I think having those joyful memories of those last days made it easier for me
Hmm.
because that was a request of his. It's something we did together. And it wasn't this, oh my God, heavy duty. And there was heavy duty stuff going on with his
Mhm.
health. I mean, it could have been
Mhm.
pretty heavy, but it was very
Yeah.
joyful. And that made it that much easier for me. And I
Wow.
think for him too.
Yeah. And I mean, really, that also goes to show that joy is a choice.
Hmm.
It's not something that just pops up unexpectedly.
Mm-mm.
It's something that even in what you were experiencing, the last days of life with your loved one, um, you could plan and carry out joy experiences that created happiness that were
Well,
really even deeper than that, which I think are joyful.
as we went through the day, he would do this too. He would think of, "Ooh, what can we do today to be joyful?" He'd think of little things, and it was just it was a fun exercise, and it really was.
Mhm.
It was an answer to a very difficult situation.
Yeah. And isn't
Yeah.
that, I mean, every day, none of us are given, know how long we're going to live. So why shouldn't we? I mean, was it hard for you to incorporate joy into
No,
into a daily
no,
basis?
no. It was much easier. I might have a thought about something, some problem, and I just thought, nah, it doesn't matter. We're going to do
Yeah.
something joyful, and
Mhm.
it was so. It was fun. It was inspiring. It was very rewarding, I guess I would say.
Mhm.
So, well, enough about me. Let's hear about Lisa.
Oh, well, I'm finding you way more interesting than, like I
Oh, my
said, I
compliment.
felt uninspired. I was just I would write about this and wrote what you said, what I said. I brought up there's this podcast out there called 10% Happier. And I think it talks about the man who wrote the book or the podcast. I think it's a book too. Talked about how meditation helps him be 10% happier.
Hmm.
And I was like, I need to look at that podcast again because that's
Mhm.
something that I
That's a
think
good
that,
idea.
you know, um, it's like, it sounds joyful to me. Maybe it's joyful is more of a, I don't know, maybe people might think you're shooting too high if you're, 10% more joyful. Maybe
Mhm.
happiness sounds more achievable. I was like, why did he pick happiness instead of joyful?
How many people have as a goal, I just want to be happy? Well, you know what? It's really not a goal.
Mm-mm.
then be happy.
Not at all.
There's nothing that says when you're suffering, you can't be happy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are stories about people at Auschwitz that decided to be happy, and it was the reason they survived. Did they bring joy into their world? I bet they did whenever they could. How much
Whatever
joy can
little
you find in a
semblance of joy they could
concentration camp?
find. Mhm.
Exactly. But,
Mhm.
the whole thing is, it goes back to this power of our mind. And I know that sounds so airy fairy to people, but
Woo.
we get to choose. We get to choose how we feel and how we think, and how the messages that we deliver are accepted. And we can be mean spirited, we can be brutal, we can be ugly, or we can be kind and loving and joyful. You get to pick.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I would ask that you accept the consequences of which of those you choose,
Mm.
because they
Yeah.
both have different consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Judy, this is wonderful. I'm really glad this was our topic for today because
Oh my.
there's a circumstance in my life right now, and you know, I'm feeling a little out of control. And
Hmm.
I think by really seeking to bring happiness and maybe even joy into that situation, um, I can make it a better situation not only for me, but for the other people involved.
I think you're right. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Okay, so do you have our list? What's our word tomorrow?
Our word tomorrow is, list. Today was joy. Tomorrow is, here we go, stretch.
I like that one. Oh, and by the way, it's a happy halfway point.
Happy, yeah, yep, happy halfway. Today is the 15th, and
Mhm.
we're on
Of
our
our
road to
30-day
30.
journaling journey together. Yes.
Absolutely. So congratulations, we made it this
Made it to the
far.
halfway mark.
Woohoo!
And
Okay,
it's
I'm
not that
looking
hard.
forward to
It's just sitting down and deciding to spend a few minutes together every day and on this journey together. This is fun.
this hasn't exactly taken the meat out of our day, that to say
No,
the
no,
least.
not
I
at
mean,
all.
it's just been a fun little visit, and of course, I always enjoy spending time with you. But it's just one of those things. I think sometimes taking this little time out of our day to maybe look at these thoughts a little differently is it's really good for us.
I think so. Beautiful. Okay. Love you, Judy. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye
Okay.
bye, honey.
Bye-bye.